Um, Perhaps before we have a hand up here and a question in the Q&A. There's something I'd like to bring up, which I was kind of looking in the Wikipedia when you were talking about phosphorus, and I looked at this image of phosphorus, and I'd like to show that, and maybe you could comment on it if it spurs you to suggest anything. So this is the structure of what's called the P4 molecule, which is phosphorus 4. It's the gas. And I thought it was a perfect symbol in a way, because you've shown the tetrahedral configuration many times, and the power of that is known. And you talked about the free plasma in the center of this configuration. We have 4 golden balls in a way, like the plasma that you were drawing the picture of. Each one of these could be considered a plasma. Could you just comment on phosphorus and its importance, and is this structure itself important?
We don't look at the structure this way in the world of plasma. We look at it as a singularity. And in so many ways, phosphor and its interaction with the sulfur is part of the process which gives physicality to man. If you look at the plasmatic condition of sulfur and phosphor, you'll find the interaction and the presence of both sulfur and magnesium leads to the creation, absorption of the fields, which then become calcium, which become the center of every cell of the body of the man. In one of the glands in the body of the man, the process in the thymus allows the field radiation to and for elements of the fields of the phosphor and the sulfur in the digestion system of the man to lead to the magnetic gravitational field of absorption and creation of what we call vitamin D, especially D3, which in essence allows the bone marrow to create a condition of the pull of these fields in the essence of the totality for the intestine to release plasmatic fields in the strength of the calcium that in passing through the wall of the intestine into the lymph and then their passage through the bone to convert them in the bone structure into the calcium and the seed of what we call every cell in the body of the man. There is not a single cell in the body of the man which does not have calcium as a center. And this has a reason. And in that process, if you look in the backbone of the physical creation, even in interaction with the DNA cannot exist if it's not attached to a calcium plasmatic condition. So in so many ways, phosphor is the last barrier between the physicality and the field energy of the universe in the dimension of the atmospheric magnetic field of the Earth. And within the what are called sealed body of the man, in this plasmatic environment of the capsule of his skin, phosphor plays a controlling role inside and thymus and thalamus together work within what we call another gland inside the thalamus and inside the thymus to create the condition of the fields which the interaction of these two leads to the plasmatic control of the phosphor in the intestine and in what they call the gut of the man. In a way, is a controlling system. And for monotonous food eaters like the people in the North Pole, which don't have access to so much variation of food, the body creates a condition that it changes the phosphor to sulfur and sulfur to phosphor and uses chlorine. And then in the back of it, if you look at the true magnetic field interaction of the oxygen as a double oxygen in a way, O2, which gives you something around about 32, 34, which sits within the structure of phosphor and sulfur, then we understand how even man creates these materials without eating them. And then this is a dimension of plasmatic fields interactions. In a way, in the body of the man, two nitrogen or two oxygens in a specific combination within the existence of the plasmatic film of the fields of the radiation, coming especially from potassium, will give and allows the amalgamation and creation of the phosphor and sulfur and the division of these in creating and holding life. Man has no physical life if he hasn't got the calcium. So the body has created the condition of the interaction of the energy fields, because in the body of the man, we are not matter state, of the field strength of what we call phosphor in a condition of the continuity and absorption of the fields, where with the sulfur in connection with the high level of the energies which come from the soul of the man, we call them hormones, lead to creation of hormones of D3 or D, or other hormones. And we find this as part of the process of understanding the totality of the physical creation of the man. In a way, if you look at the calcium in about 40, and then you start playing with the existence of the carbon as an interconnector and sulfur, then you see how calcium is created out of the elements of the matter state and the amino acid or fatty acid, as you call it. The knowledge of the existence in the presence of sulfur in connecting of its different plasmatic field strength to become what we call interaction with the phosphor to become the backbone of DNA. This all leads to the continuity of the existence of life in the matter state of the planet Earth. And in so many ways, you got to always look in the energy pack as a GANs, not in the matter state as we see in these dimensions. Those of you who are familiar with the works of the what we call biology and medicine, you should understand this very, very clearly and very comfortably. And this should lead to the development and creation of new, what you call medicines, plasmatic medicines, where the effect will be rapid and the creation of the calcium in the body of the man will become, in a way, controlling embodiment of the structure of even your T cells and B cells like T4 and the rest. In so many ways, as in the beginning of the teachings I explained, if you put the what we call the hormone, which comes from the thalamus of the body of the man, which is connected to sulfur in the interaction, and the presence of the phosphor in the central structure of the body of man in intestine, we see how calcium is absorbed from any structure of the existence of the carbon and hydrogen, where if by just breathing and having the right structure will create this condition, then many of you understand in so many ways how you lead yourself to depression, high blood pressure. In a way, if you look at it, it's very simple. Only you need is 2 hydrogen. These 2 gives you 32. The 6 gives you 38. And gives you the 40, which is your potassium and calcium in deviation of the field strength of the plasma. In a way, you just need the essence of the amino acid to create any elements in combination of the field interaction of the body, from the phosphor to bone structure calcium, and in addition to another combination of oxygen on a 3rd level will lead to creation of iron. This is why humanity can live on this planet, because it uses the combination of the easiest present, what we call particles of amino acid, by creating different pressures and field forces we call hormones to create the condition of life. In so many ways, mankind has now become very much knowledgeable in this respect. Then we understand any combination, you add another carbon, or you add a carbon and a nitrogen, and you will come to understand you reach to the other factors in the essence of the creation. If you carry the knowledge which we have, you give me a hydrogen and I can create you the creator. Where by bringing all the elements of the energy of the hydrogen field strength together, I can create the field of the plasma of the soul. So in that process, if you go through the process of number of oxygens and carbons or whatever, in the right atmospheric condition manifestation, you can make any cell of life. You can make any combination of life. And in so many ways, in the interaction of the fields, we bring this process and we lead to the creation of life anywhere in the universe. I need just one plasma, that from it, I can create any matter state in any dimension. And that one single plasma is the creator. Then you understand what you call plasma of the phosphor or sulfur is interaction of the fields. That's why you have so many glands. The glands are the creator and control of the mixture of different carbon and hydrogen. When you look at the basic hormones, that's what you see. And then you connect it to the field strength of the higher order, it becomes a hormone. And then, as we said, in the world of plasma technology, the stronger and the bigger gives to the weaker. When you have a combination of the sulfur or phosphor connected with the amino acid, and then you have another cell which is the same again, then you see the stronger feeding. You don't need a neurosystem. You don't need the blood circulation. Neurosystem tells it where to be, and the blood circulation, it brings this motion back to what to be in the solar. The process of creation is very simple. Is man was made it difficult due to his own lack of understanding of the process of interaction and division and the strength and collection of the fields. When you call it the cell of the toe, when you call it the cell of the brain of the man, and in depending on where it is and what field it receives from the soul of man in combination with what you call hormones, which is the bigger pack organization than the cell, then it becomes very apparent how life is created on this planet or anywhere else in the universe. If our scientists who at the time when they made these terminologies would have shared the correct knowledge, the correct division and understanding of it, they wouldn't have hidden it in different words like hormones and vitamin D or vitamin E, that we understood vitamin E's are all radiation fields and all the D's are hormone-related field packages. Then it would have been very easy for all of us to understand the world of biology and chemistry and the creation. Our theologists created the mayhem in the understanding of the field transfer, and our scientists created the bigger mayhem by creating misunderstanding in the physical dimension. And when you put the two together, you get the soul and the Holy Ghost. In so many ways, the lack of understanding of both has led mankind to the present time of not knowing where his soul is and not knowing how his physicality functions and is created. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have Wallace.
I hope I answered your question.
Quite extensively, I'd say. Thank you. We have Wollaston up here with a hand up, so we can allow him to talk, and Salamia's after that.
Fósforo e todo esse processo, se ele consegue mudar o DNA dele.
So the question from Allison is, if the man has this understanding of changing the behavior of his soul in relation with the phosphor, as you said, if we can change the DNA inside ourselves.
You, in a way, can evolve part of your DNA, or you can create different interactions between the energy packs of the DNA of your physicality. And in time, mankind will do that. Mankind used to be able to do that. We see it, we understand it in the application of the fields of animals, how they change their colors, how they camouflage, how they replace ligaments or part of their body which is amputated. We see in a zebrafish how even he has the capability to regenerate a new heart if he loses or damages his heart. If you remember a couple of years ago when we got involved with the university in Ghana with a bunch of zebrafishes, the new cycle of what we call research, these fishes are transparent, and if you take their heart out, they can replace their heart, they can reproduce. So the knowledge exists within the DNA of the creation and created. It's just that we have blinded ourselves to the knowledge, or due to the comforts of time, or in a position ignorance of knowledge, we have allowed it to let go. But those who have stuck to it, or they have evolved it better, they have created a spectrum of changes. If you put a combination of all the creatures on this planet, you'll find we have a perfect life. And it's the true essence of the creation. The birds, which can change their color, the animals, which can change their skin according to the temperature and the position and emotion. The animals which change their organ as they wish, and the creatures which have the capability to reconstruct the part of the body when it changes or damaged. And then we see we have the collection of the knowledge. It's just that, can mankind bring all this together to the benefit of his existence in the depths of the space and on this planet? If he exists within the dimension of the amino acid of what we call DNA of an animal or a being on this planet, so exists within the same structure of the man. We have to learn to tap into it. It's us who has forgotten the path to home. Then mankind should be able to do, if you amputate your arm, you can regrow it. If you have a fear of a position, you show it with the color. If you move in the depth of the ocean, you can transfer and use the energy of the depth of ocean and the heat to your own existence. And like, as I said, the crabs and other animals live in the depth of the ocean. If they can do it, we can do so. It's just that we have become lazy. We have become disoriented in the knowledge of what we carry. This is why I said, when we leave man suddenly in the depth of the universe, man will not die because he has the path and the knowledge to the Creator. How can he die? If man on this planet has managed to, in a way, camouflage itself in the name of whatsoever, then man can camouflage himself in the space because he carries the soul of the Creator. And this is what mankind has run away from the truth. And this is what we have to understand. In so many ways, it's us who have forgotten us and have forgotten the path we came. And with these teachings, we are taking you back there, showing you the light you left behind to show the path to the back, to the source, to the essence of creation. And at the same time, to leave a light for the development and evolution of the next step. It's not that our cycle of life is the end. We evolve the way our past generation evolved to become us who are now. In the coming time, us and through our process of present life and our future generations, we create that evolution for our future generation to stand the new environments of this planet and the universe and the universe. This is us who has to understand this process. This is us who has ignored the evolution of the science of creation and created. Any other question? The teaching, it is easy to understand who created the Creator. If you are the Adam, or if you are the Eve. And even the Adam came from an Eve because it led to his creation.
Yes, it's
So-
like Brahman and
What
Shakti.
comes first? The chicken or the egg? Is the Creator created from the field of the universe that in humbleness, he has managed to create the condition that the totality of the fields of the universe or universe connects to him, to feed him, to become. To be the creator, to give, you have to be humble enough to be given. And to be humble enough to be detached to give. And this process brings very much in the coming time when mankind is more mature to understand the essence of the creation of the Creator. In one of the teachings in the coming time, I will explain this, how the Creator was created and what led to the existence of the magnetic field that in their interaction led to the creation of the totality of the creation, one plasma, what we call the Creator. In a picture which we had seen with the soul and the fields, is that it shows that the fields of the Creator expands beyond the physical dimension of the soul of the Creator itself. So there is one question which I put all the time, and I put this in 1990s to two of my professors and my personal tutor, Dr. Shaw, in Queen Mary College. And I remember Professor Leslie could not answer me, sitting across the table with me when I was in the third year. And those days, used to be one-to-one teaching. The edge of the nuclear technology, where we sat, had no books. We read off the notes of our professors across the table, sitting face to face and sometimes next to each other, because the diagrams had to be explained. And I put to Professor Leslie and to Dr. Shaw 2 points. And because we see this in nuclear reactors in a different way. And it is, if the universe is expanding, what is expanding into? What is allowing it to expand? Where this expansion, this environment is, and what field strength it has, that it creates the field forces that dictates the size, the motion, the speed of motion of our universe. There has to be a containment that allows this container to grow into or to move within. So we cannot be the only universe, because our scientists, our life explains we run around at 1,600 kilometers around ourselves on this planet. We travel 1 million kilometers in this galaxy, but in this universe. But where does this universe expand into? If there is no other universes to limit its limitation, this is the first confirmation of the existence of unicorns, according to the knowledge we have and what our scientists tell us, if they are correct. But we see it to be correct because we have our day and night, we have our annual rotation, and then we haven't added our galaxial rotation, annual, and the rest of it. So in this process, it comes the truth. If this universe of us is expanding or is being contained and is just rotating within itself, what is it expanding? What does it exist in? Because it needs a containment. It has to be other field forces that it keeps this boundary. It creates the boundary with it. The Earth's atmosphere is created by a gravitational magnetic internal of itself in respect to the field of the solar system. In what solar system, in what universe or unicos does our universe exist? And then, is this part of a cell of anatomy of the Creator? And so is the Creator we are part of, a small part of. And what created the Creator? Where did the original fields came that led to the creation of the Creator that we are part of? In coming time, I will explain. In coming time, When you understand more, I explain to you the essence of my creation, how I was created and how my creation has led to your creation to lead to the knowledge of the creation. But in the essence, mankind has to understand. As I said many times, when we teach, we don't teach the man, but we teach the essence of the knowledge to the whole of the creator. As we don't create favoritism, that the man one day become the beloved as his love Benitra. In so many ways, mankind has to understand us as part of the created, are part of the creation and creator itself. But are we the creators, or are we the essence of the love of the creator, what we call the Eve? And then again, if there is such a position of creation and created, in what environment do the creation and the creator live in, that they can show the love and the confirmation of the existence of each other? What structure does the creator live that he needs to create an Eve to confirm to him the existence? What beauties of the creation does he see with the eye of the visuality, or the essence of the eye of the soul that he has created, the Eve that led to creation of the love? These things in coming time will be answered, but mankind has to understand the totality. First of all, accept the unconditional knowledge of the creation that is all the same in every dimension in the meaning. Then we come to the process of egg or the chicken. I can tell you one thing. Did for sure the chicken come first and lay the egg? Or did the fields of the universe led to the interaction of the creation of the fields, that in their interaction led to the creation of the egg itself, but in the maturity of space and time of the universe, it came to manifestation of the physicality of the soul of the creator and the physicality of the man and the essence of his creation. I was told, don't say you don't understand. I don't tell you don't understand. It's just that you need time to understand the totality and maturity of the knowledge of and the creation in the creator.
Thank you, Mr.
Other
Keshe.
question?
Thank you very much. Creator is like a cup and creation is like the content
Creation
of
is
the
like
cup.
what?
Example, like a cup. A cup is a
Yeah.
creator and the content is a creation. Could be like this comparison to
Yeah,
understand.
but where does the cup sit to confirm the confirmation of being a cup? To hold the water. Is there an end to it? Is there an essence of the beginning to the totality, or in essence by creation of the interaction of the fields of an egg and a sperm, we start the process of the creation ourselves? Are we part of the field who became the creator? And we create our own children, and then now we understand our soul is the creator of the rest.
Yes.
In the
Thank-
world of understanding, I explain everything in the language of science, not theology. Theology does not exist in the universe. Theology is man-made because he cannot understand the process of the physical creation. So he covered it in the mysticism of lack of his own understanding. But
That actually
If-
brings up, oh, sorry, go ahead.
creator, what has led to creation of that cup, and what does that cup hold in respect to what environment that it becomes the cup? It's become the physicality of the man, which holds the soul of the man. Is the soul of the man the cup, and the physicality of the man the water? But in that essence, what's the essence of the creation of the man in this time, place, and position and strength? is not putting a question, an answer, or answer to a question, but in trying to enlighten you to think, to see the path. Maybe some of you become enlightened to see the vision of the creation and what we call the essence of creator. Where does it begin and where does it end? Does it start with the creator, or has the creator itself has been created from the fields of the totality? Why does and where does the magnetic field come from that is led in totality to creation of the creator? What is the true essence of creation? This is what I said in book number 8. I unravel this mystery. And one day, mankind will mature to comprehend the totality. At the moment, mankind is stuck in dogma of religion, misunderstanding of which side of the stone to pray in, and which side of the stone to bang their head in against the walls of the Great Wall in Jerusalem. When mankind matures to bang his head against the knowledge of the Creator, then man might mature at that point and position. Do we have to encircle a stone to show the understanding of the truth and the fear of existence? Or do we have to throw a stone to keep away the dogma of the reality in the essence of understanding the totality of the creation? And in so many ways, in the desert of the knowledge that man exists at the moment, do we need a stone to, in a way, lay our head and pray that we understand more of the totality of the creation of that stone from the dust of the desert? It's a long way for man to go. And if the knowledge of the creation is this every pebble of the sand in the desert, man has not become a single pebble yet with his knowledge and understanding of totality, let alone the totality of the number of the sands which made that desert. Man lives in the desert of the knowledge, and that has led him to ignorance. And in so many ways, what we see the present position of existence among himself. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You were mentioning, there's a question in the Q&A that's related to what you were speaking about. The issue is about the mystery being in effect taken away by knowledge. The knowledge that you give takes away the mystery. So the question from Paulo in the Q&A is, it goes through translation, but before I expected the experience of being from me, because it seemed impossible to know everything to make this being full. Now you reveal the knowledge so that each one can know all this mystery. This proposed challenge is frightening. A master had already said that the knowledge of science is as thick as a sheet of paper, while divine science, by comparison, is the size of the Great Pyramid of the necropolis. Looking from below, it scares you to have to climb all this. It was easier, Mr. Keshe, to expect the supernatural, even though he was a scholar and not one waiting for enlightenment. So the mystery is over. The mystery is finished.
We have just started the first page of it. It's you who's got to unravel the totality of it. Mystery sits, in a way, in the lack of understanding of the knowledge. And once you understand it, there is no mystery. And in so many ways, dogmas which we have created for ourselves has created that mystery. We used to worship the light, and now we understand how the light is created from the interaction of the field. we used to pray when the sun will appear during the time when the moon was blocking his light. We sacrificed many lives to get that light back. But light came back, but the man was never enlightened at that time to understand that is the process of understanding of the position of the moon in front of the sun. So nothing has changed. It's just that now we become more knowledgeable and we gather in places to see when the sun comes to be covered by the moon. And then we celebrate it and we rejoice it and watch it go away, and we don't sacrifice any more lives to see it to go away. Nothing has changed. It's just the understanding and intellect of the man to the truth. Do we sacrifice our lives in the path of the ignorance of the others, or do we celebrate our lives to understand more the knowledge of the creation and the creator? That's all depends on us, nothing else. It's the understanding of the totality which brings man to the eventual point of understanding part of the creation and not all of it. If you look at the picture which he had with the plasma and the fields around it, if you look, every field in every position experiences different field strength and different dominion and dimension. So no one in no place will go through the same experience at the same time. But to be able to understand most of the positions, it means you have to travel many times to the soul of the creator and back out again to be rained upon to understand and experience every single field and position of that in totality become the life of the creator. Lack of understanding is the biggest problem for mankind. But once you understand the harmony and the pattern of the creation, the rest become easy to understand the totality. And then there is no mystery, and there is no dogma, there is no lack of what we call creation and the creator. Any other question?
Yes, perhaps we can hear from someone new here before Marinez. Adeljisa?
Masad, I don't understand your question.
Okay, in the picture
I'm
you
lost
had
in the
before.
maze of the knowledge.
Pardon?
I'm lost in the maze of the knowledge of the question you asked.
Maze means what?
Can you explain what you're trying to ask? I don't understand.
Yes. You had a picture just before, which the iron was 56 and the carbon 12 and etc. When we create in this condition, the field force of iron, which becomes the matter of iron, or it becomes the matter of element of carbon or whatever. I wanted to see how could we know what it becomes, this field, and predict, does it become
These
carbon?
fields are created out of packs of plasmas that the interaction of the field strength of the blood and the neural system dictates their manifestation. In the lymph of the body of the man, we don't have iron floating someplace and a sulfur or a calcium. In the lymph of the man exists one plasmatic field strength, which is mainly on the plasma of the hydrogen, as in fact what we call deuterium, a complete cell. So as what we call the fields of the nerves and the fields of the blood go through in respect to the gravitational magnetic field, in respect to each other, they decide the creation of the elements.
Yes. Is there any way
In the world of creation, there is no fusion, as we've been taught. And this is the main problem which is fed into the world of the biology and chemistry. In the world of creation, there are plasmas. And in one inertia we create, that part of the plasma becomes manifest in that element. In a way, we have one big piece of cake and we cut it to a small and medium or whatever we like. And this is the way the plasma sits in the body of the man. All plasmas, in essence, are very much like a deuterium, a complete cell, a structure. And then, according to the field strength of these two, the neurosystem and the magnetic field of the blood, and in the presence of the field of the soul of the man, dictating what is needed where, it becomes that element in that point that's become part of the cell. In essence, as I said, the hormones decide this field, and the body of the man creates it from the interaction of the fields of the nerve. And one brings the current, and one brings the field. And how these fields interact with the balanced field energy of the environment and the lymph, it becomes the energy of the lymph transferred into to become the cell in a plasma condition as we see the cell of the body. The world of science, biology has been set upside down. And in the world of creation of the atmospheric condition of this planet, Mr. Cohen, which is the essence of the what we call amino acid of the body of the man, has a fixed structure. How many of it, how they are connected to another element, we call it vitamins, we call it hormones, we call it matters or whatever. If you have a Mr. Cohen sitting in your the structure of your lymph in such a position, and it needs to change to set off the, what do you call it, let's say, set off your nose or your toe, and then how much field strength in what capability or capacity has reached it will dictate its structure. In the presence of other elements like magnesium and calcium. And body, if you look at it and go back to the teaching of a few years ago, has blocked the space development. And these block of spaces we know. You got carbon, nitrogen, and hydrogen. We got the sodium here with its boundary. We got sulfur here with its boundary. We got the next step, potassium and calcium in this boundary section. And then we have the elements of the metals, iron, which you have the cobalt on one side of it, because now at the heavier level, you need a heavier interaction of the fields, where here it can be done on its own. And then you move with the interaction of the small carbon position, you come to creation of the, what we call the copper and zinc. These are what we see. And this is the interaction of these blocks in different way, in different condition of the field strength, what we call salinity, has led to the creation of the man in total essence. One, in totality of the control, which what we call the hormones, in interaction of with some, and then on this end, the creation of the cells. And somewhere in interaction with totality of the control, we call it emotion and the soul of the man. Life, creation of life on this planet is very simple, but we never understood. Why do we see the presence of psilocybin here at N28? Because look, where does it say? Look at the condition of Mr. Cohen here. Where does it link into?
Yes.
Where
it
does the
is.
potassium and calcium sit on this end? Where there is a combination of the totality in field of radiation. And then you add an oxygen to it, you come to this point of. But these are all in a plasmatic condition. They are not in a field condition, in matter state condition. And that's why it has created so much confusion in the world of science.
Yes,
have
it did. It's the
the,
opposite
what
side.
we call the carbon and hydrogen. You have the interaction of the oxygen in any of these, which is the gravity point of view. And then you look at the different oxides. Look at the cycle of the life in biology, in a plasma condition, as we do, then you understand it becomes very easy.
So these
You
28,
take any of these positions, and as we always tell you, add an amino acid to it, then you see the cycle of life, how it reacts to the combination of the protein existence of the creation on this planet. Life, the biology of physics is very, very simple.
this 28, which you said it's selenium, is it the field forces or field masses? How big
It's all
it is?
field forces. We don't have matter condition in the body of man.
We have no mass of fields. I mean, the space, the space
I
of,
can't understand what you mean.
yeah, okay. So it's just the strength of it. So each plasma has its strength.
Its own strength, yes. And then in respect to the environment of it, it reacts and dictates. The environment is created by salinity of the collection of the materials. We allow you to be created according to this salinity to become the cell of the kidney. We change the salinity slightly, you become a liver. In a way, we dictate inertia. I always call salinity as the inertia, which in respect to the fields of the environment allows the manifestation of the matter in that point. This is what the world of science has made too many names for it. If you put the salinity as inertia, then we know how elements, how cells are created anywhere in the body.
And can we
It's
create,
like you have a salinity and field strength, which what we call the inertia, and you create the sand on the desert, you change the inertia, you become the gold in the mine.
and we can create
In a
a
way, the
spaceship.
field of interaction from the plasma state to the matter state, what we call inertia, is the true understanding of the essence of the creation in the matter state. What is the strength to change you, to convert you from matter to what we call from fields to matter? And this is what I said. This is what we see with sulfur, around about 34. Because the next step, 35, 36, and on, will bring unbalance in additional neutrons, then become energy interactions. where we see the chlor on this side, and we see what we call the phosphor on this side. Physicality and then boundary between the two. Cleansing. That's what we see sulfur as a cleaning material in the body. Cleaning in a way, bringing balance between the two, which way we're going to. Is a double agent, works on both sides.
So
We see
in
the
our
repetition
box,
of the balanced neutron and proton in other states imbalance. Mainly we see it in what we call some of the inert gases behavior. Not all of them, because now we have to learn about the plasmatic inert gases which we have no knowledge about. We know inert gases in the matter state, but plasma inert gases which leads to radiation, plasmatic radiation, is unknown to man. In the future, I'll teach this. I used them in the first Iranian nuclear space reactors. It's not something new. If you read in the pattern, it's clearly indicated, but you look at it as a matter state, but look at the plasma state, then you understand. When we speak about matters like argon and helium and that kind of thing, you look at the matter state field radiation, because through the interaction in the vacuum condition leads to the creation of fields, radiation fields of alpha, and in some cases we can produce as much as gamma radiation to it. But the gamma radiation, the alpha radiation in the world of plasma is useless. It's so weak that it cannot operate, or it's too strong that it destroys. So mankind needs to learn new understanding of the plasmatic radiation fields with a different strength. Any other question?
thank you
You
very
see
much.
here, I'll show you something very interesting. Can we change the camera, please? If you look, can we go on camera, please? If we look at here, I especially brought this up because of the teaching of it. This is calcium. This is the essence of the creation of physicality of the man. That's why you stand up. Without it, and in respect to its position of it, you will not be able to have arms and legs and fingers to be in a position. Here you have the zinc, which is the essence of the emotion field transfer. But many of you have never seen this because you don't produce it. But this is phosphor, the essence of the backbone of what you call the DNA. What this does in respect to what we call the CO2 and the zinc, and in respect to calcium and itself, this, by coming into operation, in respect to energy pack of CH3, the original sugar of creation, gives you a combination of what we call the DNA of the man, with the structure that DNA has within its structure a condition to give physicality. Without this phosphor, you have no DNA. And without the calcium, which is sitting somewhere here, you have no physicality of being as a man. I take this one out of the body of the man, you're just a jelly on the floor. Even your cells would be a plasma pack. When we add this phosphor into it, it's got a specific characteristics. When you see it, you understand its fields of interaction its field in respect to amino acid, it creates different position and the twist in helix effects of the DNA. So if you give me as a man in a space or in a laboratory, a combination of these, I will make you the man with emotion, with physicality, with everlasting life, that what you call the sugar of life, which itself is a carbon which connects to CO2, and with it releases the energy for the whole structure to sustain itself. This is why I said many times, give me a skull and I'll make you the man. In whole physicality, because understand the process of creation with emotion, with the physicality of upright standing, with understanding of the DNA. Because through this phosphor, through understanding of the operation of the CH3 and CO2, and adding in interaction of the 2 or 3 of them together, I can create the copper existence to give the physicality of the muscle. I can create you any man, any creature. This is why in world of science, without many of us understanding, scientists say a mouse is 95%, 98%, it's the same as the man, because we are created all of the same amino acid. This is how we position it in respect to energy of the earth, which gives us a mouse feeling or a lion or the man. If I keep on shaking and vibrating these two in putting it out, letting it up, shaking it up, putting it up, laying it up, being able to walk it, I create intelligence and emotion. If I bring magnesium into it, I create you the vertical. That's why man is intelligent, because intelligence comes how much we can vibrate and shake things together, and how we interact the composition of the material, how we position them in respect to each other. So in the universe, if I change, as I said last week, from this environment to the chair or this position, I create you another being, even though I have the same materials. So in life, we have to understand the process of creation, because the magnetic field of this environment gives me an oval shape, different structure. The magnetic field of this environment is circular and different structure. One is slightly different than in respect to the Earth's gravitational magnetic field, or in respect to the central position of the universe. Then it's very easy to understand. We can change these things. As I said, we go from the matter to plasma, or the plasma to the matter. How much energy in the field interaction and the fields of the plasma we create dictates what kind of being we will create in the depth of the universe and in space, with what behavior and what understanding. As we say in beautiful language of Arabic, Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. It means this is from the beginning to the end, if you understand it. If we understand the beauty of the knowledge, barakat means the beauty, then what we are given, the gift, then we understand the process of the creation. We understand from the beginning to the end. But in between, man has got lost in the knowledge, or he hasn't had the time to gather enough knowledge to reach that. So you give me this as a phosphor, I'll make you the man. I can create any amino acid, and I can create any DNA which creates the life this planet. Any other.
Yes, it's just something I thought I would share. But I also wanted to ask a question, Mr. Keshe, about when you you know, when you talk about manifesting yourself, I always think of a movie I saw a long time ago. It's a stupid movie. It's about this guy that you know, he's naked in the streets, and he just appears there. It's probably not what you mean, but when you do manifest yourself, if you wanted to practice, like just manifesting yourself in an environment, like if I chose an environment where I was comfortable with, and I could relate to the emotion and the feeling of the place, and would you be naked, or would you just be a self-awareness? And if you needed to come back, you'd have to be comfortable with the two different positions in order for you to come back. Would that be right or wrong?
Actually, you raised a beautiful point. You raised a fantastic point from the man's point of view. When you pass the position of extension of your soul to your physicality, would you take your frocks with you? Or do you just transfer and translate the energy fields which the soul of the man has led to his creation? The answer is yes. The answer is, in a way, you might see a bunch of clothes on the floor, or the field of the material you wear as a garment becomes part of the energy of the environment. But would you manifest in the same clothes with 4 legs and 2 heads and 4 arms in another position? There'll be no. So you manifest as naked, or in a condition that your soul is happy what to be seen. Would you have your genitals with you, or will it be covered to the eye of the presenter or the observer? That depends on you, what you want to explain. This brings back the position of understanding the totality. We don't have clothing of silk and cotton or polyester in planet Zeus. This is why in some teachings back very recently, I referred to that when you see people of the universe, when we become aware of their existence and communication in line of understanding, we don't see them in suits made by Yves Saint Laurent or made by something else in planet Zeus. So what you raised is the truth about creation. We are naked. Not only in physicality, but in the dimension of observation of the soul. And in essence, we travel with nothing, and we come with nothing, and we go with nothing. In the essence of the life we see from the birth of a child, from the womb of the mother, is not dressed up with pampers and warm clothing if it's in the winter, or with the bathing suit and the hat if it's in the summer. The dimension of the extension of the soul of the man when you take that step to travel in the dimension of the field strength of the soul, you will manifest to me naked. But it's you who decide in the position of the manifestation what to show. The eye, the face. I want you to see me the way I am in a position of me in my dominion in such a planet. You may be frightening to me on earth, but when I know it's your soul which is manifested in dimensions, I explained with a different field of strength, the way you look, I might fall in love with you because this is a gorgeous place and shape to be in. But as maybe what you raised a beautiful point is we come with nothing and we go with nothing. And where we manifest, or our soul manifests itself, again, where it's nothing. And this is what it comes, as I said many times, what are we fighting for? To wear a suit, to drive a car, to create so much harm and mayhem. For what reason? As I said many times to my children, is the wealthier you are, the less you take. Because when you are a poor man and you tramp on the street, they take your body, maybe they wash you, they put you in the coffin and they bury you. At least you still take the dirt of the earth and the nails you carry. You carry it rich, slightly more than what you came with because you carry some of the dirt into the coffin. That's the limitation. But when you're rich, they wash everything, they manicure you, they take even the last bits of the nail out. It's perfect. You go with nothing. And so, is it worth fighting for? Is this life which we see with murders and mayhem created by governments, by nations and individuals worth at all? The second the breath stops, there is no worth for the body of man except to become a fertilizer in the fields of the dimensions of creation for itself to be recycled. So, do we or would we manifest naked? Yes. Naked not as with no clothes on, naked that we have nothing but what is our soul to be open and visual and transparent to everything else. We become that soul. Because at this moment of time, mankind has not managed to manufacture clothing for the soul yet, except the cover of lies on the line of the different path of any other.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have
Expand in the direction of to see now we are here, how we can change them, how we can elevate their souls, how we can change life for them. And then we started the process of observing and supporting in different ways. We've seen, as you might have heard before, so many of them for the first time, they came off Pampers.
Jen, your mic is open there. Or are you done for now? Perhaps he was done. Okay. Just get that handled. Okay, Kay has a hand up here, and let's see if we can bring him in. Hello, Kay.
Good morning to everybody, or good afternoon. Thank you, Rick. God bless you all. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much for today's teaching. I must add, your haircut really looks nice. God bless you. My question was, can you hear me?
Yes, speak a little bit louder. Come a bit closer to your microphone.
My question was regarding the phosphor that you mentioned defects takes place on our offsprings because of lack of the phosphor in a perfect interaction. So are you, or is my understanding correct, if we were to rectify that problem, in other words, to fix the phosphor problem, would we actually fix the handicaps or the defects in the child after he's born?
This is a simple version of looking at it, but in essence, you have to look at the GANS plasma of the sulfur with phosphor and the field interaction and the salinity at the point and the condition of the field in an amino acid of the DNA. It's not as simple as I'll add this, will do to it. I discussed this with past few days with one of the Iranian leading doctors, which works with the Keshe Foundation. And I was discussing with him in respect to the genetic modification and DNA damage of the vaccination, if it can be sorted. And I was explaining to him in how the physicians have to take a step to stop this. And we have the knowledge. It has to be done in the correct way. And we teach the physicians how to use these technologies to be effective for the present time. But it's not that I just take a phosphor or a sulfur and then I'll correct the DNA. It doesn't happen that way. You need a deeper understanding and knowledge in how to extend it and expand it. But in essence, it can be done if you work through the plasma, not through the matter, but you have to understand the effect and operation of a lot of other things that you get involved.
So, Mr. Keshe, there is hopes for all these.
Claudia in Brazil, some times ago, slightly touched on it and deviated from it. And I explained to her in those days how it could be done. Dr. Rodriguez came near to it and he suddenly deviated. His crowd took him more than his knowledge. And he deviated from the work. And I teach physicians of the Keshe Foundation in the knowledge of the plasma, of the matter, and the plasma of the technologies. And this has to be understood fully by the physicians because they look at it, they understand it totally different way. And now we have a beautiful Iranian doctor who I work with sometimes when it comes to it. He's done beautiful works in the Middle East. And this is one of the topics which we're discussing this week with him. How to use the effects of these, what we call bases of the hormones to change the possible effects of the injections. If comes to the change in what you call DNA. But you have to understand the knowledge and understand it very well before you can.
So, Mr. Keshe, thank you very much. Would it be fair for me to say, so in future, all these people who are handicapped, there's way for them out, apart from the enhancement unit?
You got to understand a very fundamental point, and I do that with a lot of due respect, with a lot of understanding. It's not that you're handicapped, or born handicapped, or with different handicap, a condition. But handicap to me is manifestation of the physicality, not the strength of the soul. But you have to understand that each soul is created in its conjunction and the purpose to balance many other fields. Why does somebody become physically impaired in different ways and shapes or conditioned in respect to the environment they live? What is to be taught by the soul to those who are supposed to be the people who get affected by it? I pass a person on a wheelchair with all sorts of diseases, MS, ILS, multiple sclerosis, or whatever, from the point of birth, whatever. What effect that soul has and is being created to have on the people who look after or come in touch with that soul? What's the purpose of it? Otherwise, when the man becomes perfect, we should see no handicaps, because there's nothing is there to be balanced. And this is the process that we have to learn. And the people who cause these disbalances, they come to understand they have to balance it themselves in the future. We got to understand the process of the creation. And now that we understand it, at least a whole part of it, or a speck of dust of it, we have to understand what is the purpose. Why some people become so horrible in their behavior, and they think they're always right, because to them, they have to destroy everything. And then what is the balance for them in the future? They look at this minute and this moment, I do what I like. But what is to come when it comes to the balance? And this is part of balancing of the souls. Then you understand why you call handicap, physical handicap, whatever shape or form, creates or created for the people who are around that person. Why do we put handicapped children or mentally, we call impaired people, children, into orphanages, which is mainly done in many countries? The soul of the parents who left it behind still is aware of it, and it still has to find balance with it. What is the balance work with the people who care for them? And how much can you change to make life different for them, as you are responsible for the soul of everyone? In Iran, we have at the moment a special case where I was talking to the people who are responsible for it, communicating with them in the past couple of days. Last year, due to Corona, knowledge seekers went everywhere, and they took over to help an orphanage with 100 children, for them not to get Corona. And we have been successful. We had no case of Corona 12 months. And in the process, when the team of the knowledge seekers who are responsible to provide all the zincs and whatever to the orphanage, which is 100 mentally handicapped in the worst conditions mostly you see, we saw an opportunity. And as you know, with the emotional way the Iranians are, we decided we take this orphanage up. This orphanage is part of the organization, many other orphanages. And we supported the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers in Iran, supported this, and the carers are so loving that they accept it. And we start developing a process. This month is exactly 12 months. And according to the head office of this group of orphanages, it was impossible that they had no Corona in this orphanage. No staff, no children. Then we decided to expand in the direction of to see, now we are here, how we can change them, how we can elevate their souls, how we can change life for them. And then we started the process of observing and supporting in different ways. We've seen, as you might have heard before, so many of them for the first time, they came off Pampers, which is very unusual in the center. They noticed the use of Pampers has decreased so much. It never happened in the life story or in other branches of the same orphanage. And now we start concentrating on elevating their souls to education. It's impossible to educate many of us, but we see, and the people of the team in Iran selected some, I think 10, to give a special progress than the others. And we have seen how we can change the life of these children. In a way, we cannot change the DNA, we cannot change the what we call physical damages through the structure, but we see them, they become happy people. They start learning. Some of them are learning better than the others, and for the first time, they want to be educated. They can communicate. Children would have died in beds from the time they are, if you see these videos, because I get them regularly, they're confined to one bed, 1 meter by 80 centimeter, because they can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. They cannot walk. They're shaking their head all the time. We see them calm down. We see the soul of the man to come out of them. And it gives the Keshe Foundation team a lot of pleasure that have we changed the DNA, or we have elevated the soul to show its beauty. And we're observing this, and very soon, hopefully, the Keshe Foundation team will make a video from this orphanage with 100 children in it, and we'll let the children speak. We'll let the carers to speak, how much they enjoy what the soul they put in from the pleasure of seeing these souls changing. And would the Keshe Foundation technology will affect the changes in the DNA or changes in the what I call defects or misrepresentation of the energies of the body? We'll observe this in years to come. When I return to Iran, it'll be one of the first places I'll visit, because I know being present there, we can do more. And then we see how we cannot take one case. We have 100 cases. Every child more or less is videoed. We watch them from the first day they received the cancers, and we have a full history. There are psychologists in the background assessing all of it. Then this become a base for mass data for other, what we call, you call them handicap centers, we call them physically despaired. They are despaired, they don't know how to. Can we get them to live with themselves? Can we let them to express themselves? Because in this orphanage, we have from newly born children to the age of 18. So we see the full spectrum of the change. They've been there 10 years. We know they don't change. We have seen consistency. Now we see the change. And would we, in the coming time, get the scientists and the doctors in Iran with the help of the Sharia, what we call Iran National Defense University, which we are part of, to create assessment of mental and physical condition by changing the soul through the strength of the fields of the ganses? It'll be reported over years. I've asked, and we'll receive the annual report within the next few weeks, and then we'll see how much we change. We'll get the report from the doctors, we can see the children, and then we watch them in next years, 2 years, 3 years. To me, these things are important, because one of the first years I went to school, my first year in the school, I happened to be in a school that I could not understand, but a lot of people were the same, wore the same kind of clothing. And when it came to the Nowruz party, which the school gave, I saw all of them living in one place. I said to my father, what is going on here? My father said, half of your classmates have no father and no mother. We brought you here to be educated with the orphans, that you understand the process of life. And in a very fundamental way, it touched the rest of my life. And it's our responsibility to change this. And now we have knowledge we can do. We can get the child to move, to talk, to become independent. Do not stay very much. When I saw the first videos from this orphanage, it reminded me of the calves in the blocks I've seen in Holland. The calves, from the day they are born, they put in a cage, and they literally, till the day they slaughter them, stay in this cage. Most of the time, even upright. And I said to the knowledge seekers in Iran, the child is more than a cow. We have to bring the change. And we've seen a huge change, huge positive move. The shaking of the bodies has stopped in some of them. Some start communicating. And It all has come through the introduction, understanding the structure of the creation of the body and the soul. And this will bring changes. But thanks to what I call one of the dividends of the Corona situation in Iran, we'll show this in the coming time. I've asked our Keshe Foundation team, which is extending rapidly in Iran, to video this and bring it to us. We are moving a lot of activities from IT to the television and the control of the Keshe Foundation into offices of Iran, where we have experts to start structuring these and making videos and collectively helping the Keshe Foundation worldwide to produce a much better network facilities. And I was assured yesterday that the Keshe Foundation network of the works will be unique in the coming months across the world, be it of our education, be it of our broadcasting, be it our centralizing the Universal Enhancement Unit. This is a gift from the Iranian leadership to the Keshe Foundation, and we thank them for that. And they're bringing the elites of Iran IT into the offices of the Keshe Foundation to develop one of the most fundamental structures of communication around the world for Iran Keshe Foundation Center of Control to become the center of the new knowledge and technology. We requested this from His Office of the Minister of Iran and Iranian leadership, and we've been granted such a gift. And in the coming weeks, you will see a rapid, massive development in all aspects, being the wiki, being the website of the Keshe Foundation, automatically in all languages around the world. The head of IT of Keshe Foundation takes charge of this organization, the rapid change, and the Iranian, what we call computer centers, will become the backers of the spreading of the knowledge and technology. When I tell you we start teaching from Iran in the coming time, we are preparing for the international broadcast teaching worldwide, that the knowledge is shared, is not just to talk. And the first team of this, what we call group, with the support of the Iranian officials and the internet, has taken shape and start working out of Tehran. And you will see a lot of changes in that direction. And one of these processes is to take our knowledge seekers and literally put data of all these children we spoke about into computers. See and follow their lives over the next 10 years, 20 years, how the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation has changed. Have we managed to change the defects or DNA, or have we managed to grow their brain that they move out of it? We extend the soul to repair the physicality. It is all getting done. And as I said, I respect and thank the Honor of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei and the offices of the officials in Iran to provide the Keshe Foundation as a whole worldwide with such a any other.
So Keshe, thank you ever so much. God bless you. And God bless you and also the team in Iran who has taken this upon them, this mission for people who have got defect, or kids who suffer from defects. And this will be blessing in disguise. And I hope this comes through as quickly as possible, as there is so many people in the world which have got all sorts of defects and disabilities. And the foundation could give them a light. I wish you a lot of luck. And
We
thank
don't
you
need
ever
the
so
luck.
much.
We've been given the gift.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom, to jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.